So the idea of this is now, as I start to draw this knife, all I need to draw is this, right? So I believe, having done the upside down drawing and the stool drawing, that you can do a pretty good job of drawing that little rectangle. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is, so it starts out almost, I thought it was going to be smaller when I really started to look at this. It's almost halfway across where it starts out. So I'm going to start out almost halfway across, and then it comes down and it crosses right through there, right? Just a little bit up at the top. Okay. And I'm just going to, this is a pretty much of a straight line until the very end. So I'm just going to sketch, and I'm doing this lightly, so if I do make a mistake, I can fix it. So now I'm going to really look at this and say, is that really the same triangle? And if it's even a little bit off, it makes a difference. I'm thinking this is just a little bit fat. I was so excited about the fact that it was almost halfway that I came over just a teeny bit too much. So I'm going to come over from here instead. Okay. And I think that's better. And then you just make your merry way. So you've got this little line here, right? So then that comes across like that, where's it starting? It starts down here. Okay. So it's like you're making a paint by numbers. And you can create some lines where some of the shading is, like you might create a line right here, a light line to give you a guide for your shading, light lines right here for the shading, light lines. And then the one thing I really want to, like with the knife, I didn't need any, just the square was enough. But when things get complicated like this fork, I really, whenever students are having trouble with the square, I always notice that they haven't done what I'm asking you to do right now, which is anywhere where your subject is complicated at all, just draw an X. Okay, so I'm going to draw an X through this really complicated square. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on my drawing paper, super light again, because I want to be able to erase it. And again, if I can do this on video, you can do this at home. Okay. So now I have this X in the middle, and this gives me a lot more information about where everything is, right? So I can see this little part of the fork kind of starts out, there's just a little bit of space, and it's just right below, where is it? It's right below that X, right? And there's just a little bit of space that just kind of disappears as it's coming down. Okay. So that gives me so much more information. I wouldn't, even if you want to do it here, it would help, right? So it doesn't take long to draw an X. It's one of those things where doing something extra actually ends up making it take a little less time because you have so much more information. So you could, if you wanted to, just draw a diagonal through the whole thing, right? And then just make X's on every one of these. But I don't require you to do that. I just say, so now if I had the X on my paper, let's see how I did with my knife, because this will tell me how I did. Okay. So let's see. So then this X, this space here, yeah, it looks pretty good. And now I also notice there's a little shadow there. So I'm going to just draw the line of that shadow coming up, which slowly separates it. So it starts right actually over the other edge, and it slowly comes up through the X, right? Up through there. And then it starts to wrap around in the curvy part. Okay. So like I said, that's a little too wide. It's really more like that. Okay, so like I said, you're not only drawing the edges of the objects themselves, but you're drawing the edges of the shadows too. Will be very helpful. And then, like I said, please just you want this to look like a paint by numbers with a grid through it. You don't want to start shading because I need to teach you how to shade. Even those of you who are good at it, I guarantee you will be much better at it after putting in a couple hours of the exercises I want you to do. I have some pretty advanced exercises that will make you better. Okay, so all I want you to do for the next couple classes is just get your or until you're done, because some of you will be faster and I'll move you on sooner, self-paced. All I want you to do is just get the paint by numbers here. Just get the general outlines of everything. You can always come back and add more outlines later if you realize that you don't really know what you want to do here in terms of, like, you forgot to get the shadows for the fork, and when you start shading you really realize that you need to get those outlines. So you come back and you later when you start shading you realize, oh yeah, I forgot, I should have gotten this in too, and that's really detailed, so I should have made an X, and then I come down here and I make an X and I start getting those lines in as well. Okay, and as always, I'm pretty sure this video helped a lot, but I'm pretty sure for a lot of you it didn't help enough. So if you need more help, I'm in class, I'm available. Reach out for help. I really want you to get something you're proud of, and from my experience in the classroom, everybody can, and I'm pretty sure remotely everybody can as well. It's just going to take a little more on your part of taking responsibility for reaching out to me to ask for help when I don't know that you need help, because I can't look over your shoulder like I can in the classroom. Excellent. Thanks. So this is where you should end up, with a nice little, like I said, like a paint by numbers. Could still be adjusted a little bit, but it's got enough for me to get a start. And then as I shade, I may find some places where I need to go back and figure out exactly where things are. But if you can just get to this point, again, please do not start shading. We're going to get to this point. Everyone's going to get to this point. And when they've gotten to that point, they're going to go through a number of shading exercises so that they can either learn how to shade for the first time or learn how to do it even better than they ever have before. Get to work on these. And as always, if you have questions, let me know.